Hey guys, remember me? Yeah, I know it's been a really long time since I've done one of these things. I was intending on doing these vlogs all throughout the season last year, but I got a little sidetracked. You know, with work, moving, the girlfriend and all. But I'm back now, excited as hell for the 2011 season. And I'm sure like you, can't wait to kick back some cold ones and watch some Cardinals baseball. Yet, since we're still a week away from opening day, why don't we just talk about it for now, as we round the hot corner. Welcome, and thanks for watching. Those of you who might be watching for the first time, I'm better known in the cyber world as CardsFaninBigD. Here's the deal. I'm originally from St. Louis, St. Charles to be exact. I've been a lifelong Cardinals fan as far back as I can remember. But work kind of got in the way, and to make a long story short, I ended up as a transplant here in Dallas, Texas. However, my love and passion for the Redbirds hasn't changed one bit. No matter how many times Tony La Russa has made moves over the years that makes you want to go, what the? Anyhow, spring training is winding down, and the everyday roster has pretty much taken shape. So, what did you think of the moves made during the offseason? Well, they really didn't go after the big money guys like Carl Crawford, Jason Worth, or Cliff Lee. To be honest, they really didn't do too much altogether. They trade pitcher Blake Hawksworth to the Dodgers for middle infielder Ryan Theriot, which, more or less, makes shortstop Brendan Ryan expendable. Well, that, and the fact that La Russa didn't like him much. They shipped him to the Mariners for a single-A prospect pitcher, which will probably never come close to seeing the majors. Now, personally, I think a bucket of balls and a rosin bag would probably get more usage. Anyhow, on my opinion, they gave up on him way too early. He's going to be the everyday shortstop in Seattle, and he's poised to have a breakout year. And as for Theriot, you may remember him from his days as a Chicago Cub. He played shortstop there, then gets traded to the Dodgers, and has moved to second base because of his fielding. He's back at shortstop here, or at least penciled to be in there for the time being. Oh, did I mention that his numbers offensively have been going down over the last few years? The next big signing, if you want to call it that, was Lance Berkman, the former Houston Astros first baseman, traded to the Yankees last year to be a DH, didn't really impress as of late last season. He's had knee problems, which sidelined him for a part of the year. So what did the Cardinals do? They signed him to play right field. Oh, you know, the position that's been more or less vacant since they traded Ryan Ludwig last year. Now, I'm not going to comment on how he's going to play that position at this point. However, if he does stay healthy, he should be a decent hitter in the middle of the lineup. Gerald Laird is signed to back up Yadier Molina behind the plate. All of this necessitated because of the forced retirement of former Cardinal backup catcher Jason LaRue. I'm sure you remember this last year, that big brawl in Cincinnati. Johnny Cueto was kicking like a little bitch and sure enough hit LaRue in the head. I mean, really. Outside the UFC, who in the hell kicks a player in the head? This signing also shows just how little confidence they have in Brian Anderson making the next step in his development in the near future. They also signed Nick Punto to be this year's version of Felipe Lopez. Just like Lopez, he gets hurt early and will be on the DL for the early part of the season. Now, unlike Lopez, Nick Punto wasn't called on to pitch and part of a 20-inning marathon game like Lopez did last summer. But of course, their activity and roster changes weren't the big story of the winter. Can you guess what that was? I'll give you 5 guesses, and the first 4, they don't count. Now, unless you live under a rock, you'll know that the Albert Pujols contract negotiations were front and center in terms of news headlines. Now, there have been arguments on both sides as to whether or not we re-sign him beyond the season. The pros? He's arguably the best player in the game. He's a 9-time All-Star, 3-time National League MVP, 6-time Silver Slugger, and 2-time Gold Glove winner. Oh, did I mention that he's hit over 300 and hit 30 or more home runs every year he's played? The cons? Oh, you know, stuff like he's not really 30, he's on steroids, he doesn't hustle, he's not a team player, he's a jerk to the fans, and his mom wears combat boots. Okay, maybe that last one was a stretch, but some of the others were legitimate concerns nonetheless. Although I don't believe he's on, or has ever been on the juice, I do believe, however, that he's older than he claims to be, by say 4 or 5 years. Now that could hinder his performance towards the end of a potential new long-term deal. As for the rest of it, well, I've never met the guy, so I can't say anything about how he treats the fans off the field, except for the part of charging $175 for the opportunity to win a chance to get his autograph at the winter warm-up in January. That's a little bit excessive, even if it was for charity. And it's completely understandable that being the best player in the game, that he wants to be paid accordingly. And while the Cardinals have had the past several years to get a long-term deal done that would guarantee he'd be a Cardinal for his entire career, or trade him for a handful of top-notch prospects and young players that can make an immediate impact now and in the next couple of years, instead, they choose to do nothing, and the Mang is now a 5-10 player. What does that mean? Basically, the Cardinals can't trade him without his blessing, and he's already went on record saying he's going nowhere. Now this poses a huge risk on both parties involved. For Pujols, if he gets hurt at any point in the season, his value could potentially plummet. For the Cardinals, if he goes out and has a career year, then there's a real possibility, if it hasn't been done already, that he'll outprice himself right out of St. Louis and about 90% of the other major league markets. So, what do? My take, at the risk of completely and totally handcuffing the organization talent-wise for many years to come, you gotta sign him, no matter what his asking price is. Why, you might ask? Taking a look at it from a business perspective, is there anyone out there, either on the current roster or in the farm system, that can be just as marketable to the mainstream national media like Albert Pujols can? Unless they make some sort of blockbuster trade or sign a big-name, high-dollar free agent during the offseason, chances of that are very highly unlikely. And given the track record of General Manager John Mozeliak, I'm not really holding my breath on that to happen anytime soon. In addition, I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but apparently this summer the Cardinals are going to finally start building Ballpark Village. And for that to be any kind of success, you have to have the fans come out, even those bandwagoners. You lose Pujols, and you don't make an effort to replace him with another marquee name, which I don't think the Cardinals front office can do at this point. You risk alienating and losing a huge chunk of your fan base. Don't believe me? Well, do you guys remember the early to mid-90s? Since Albert won't negotiate during the season, barring a horrific start, God forbid, we won't have to deal with this or even talk about it till November. And on that note, we're just a week away from the start of the regular season. The Cardinals, they have 5 more games in Florida, a trip to Springfield, and then opening day at Busch. As we close this show, I want to know what you guys think. And with my first question of the day of the season, I've got this to ask you. What did you think of the Cardinals off-season activity? Let me know what you guys think by posting your answers, comments, responses, or questions, and anything else in the comment box below. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and follow me on Twitter. I'm CardsFaninBigD on both sides. I'll be back next week, just before the home opener, to give you a preview of the upcoming season and answer some big questions surrounding this ball club. Till then, have a great week, enjoy the rest of spring training, and go Cards!